What existing functionality have you guys already built that people can use today?
So quite a bit. So right now, in last year in November, Adao, just for themselves, put a DAO contract on chain, a very simple Plutus contract. So any developer is able to use that, mint tokens from it, and govern this contract. We also have another one that holds all the Adao tokens. And so people can use these contracts, but you have to be a developer, right? You have to be somebody who develops on Cardano, and they don't have interfaces for them yet.
Okay. So you mentioned, this idea of governing that contract. Some, protocols, they have, many different smart contracts that offer different utility. So with DAOs, is there essentially one governance contract that governs the rest of the contracts in the ecosystem?
Yeah, sometimes. So, for example, in ADAO, we have one governance contract, which is a Plutus contract that holds all those tokens. Um, and then we have native script contracts, better known as multi-sig contracts within the DAO. You can call them sub-DAOs, different working groups in ADAO. So they have autonomy in their multi-sigs, right? Um, but there's also this, like you said, main governing contract. And so all that is really modular. And you can have different Plutus contracts, different native script multi-sigs, and there's a million different ways you can configure them for what your intentions are.
Yeah. Earlier you mentioned, your contracts are open source and a lot of what you're working on is why? What is the importance of open source in this community?
Yeah, so not just with DAOs, but especially with DAOs, like the power that they have, right? It's given to them by this transparency, and this ability for everyone to know what's going on, participate, and that's how the best people, right, for these particular jobs are able to rise to the top. Um, you'll always see natural hierarchies, but the big difference in DAOs is that's not a gated position.
Okay. What are, some DAOs that you guys have worked with that people may know from the community?
Uh, Quite a few. Um, I'd hate to miss some, but all the protocols building on Cardano, uh, like Liquid, MinSwap, um, all these protocols, want to be community owned or governed. So to do that, they are interested in right building out the set of contracts and, like I said, even native script multi-sigs to do so. So quite a few. In ADAO, it's like I said, it's an open source community, so there's no business plan in ADAO. So all these communities and projects are welcome to come in, not only look at this code, join the meetings and direct where we're putting all this effort because they're the ones who are doing the work.
Awesome. Awesome. You know, with the ADAO token, you mentioned you have this merit-based economy that rewards users for, essentially providing value back to ADAO. Are there any other utilities of the ADAO token, past, rewarding users for their merit?
Yeah. So we also build a lot of cool dApps in ADAO, and one of those is a staking portal. So right now, you can, participate in governance, but you can also stake these tokens. So in ADAO, we get a lot of tokens donated to us from other projects. There's a lot of projects that are created by people within ADAO using their open source infrastructure. So they'll allocate tokens to ADAO. So a lot of those tokens we'll vote on to use as rewards at things like the staking portal. So yeah, 8-out tokens, 8-out LP tokens, and there's a lot of different reward tokens. So yeah,
Awesome. Earlier you mentioned this idea of native scripts, which alludes to multi-sig wallets. Were you speaking about, the Roundtable version one when you were speaking about that, or is Roundtable version one, something separate with maybe some similarities? Can you explain what Roundtable V1 is and what utility that provides for, a DAO?
yeah. So native scripts are something we've had on Cardano. You're probably familiar with them. And you can do a lot of things, mint tokens, mint NFTs, and do multi-signature transactions. So Roundtable is just really what we call the DApp that we host to interface with that. In Cardano, we have, we build these transactions off chain. So in Roundtable, it's a very decentralized way to do that because in the Roundtable app, it does everything in your browser, right? So you're building these transactions, and then you can share that URL with somebody. They can open the DApp, and they can choose to spin up a gun node. And it's just a button, a toggle switch, and you'll be able to now coordinate those transactions. So if you have a few friends, you'll be able to create a Roundtable wallet and then coordinate doing spending from a treasury.
It's awesome. So, in Cardano, one of the most unique things about it is Project Catalyst. It's a decentralized treasury with right now over 942 million ADA in it. And that ADA can actually be given to, Adao or myself or people building value in this ecosystem. And as we mentioned earlier, there's a fund coming up very soon on 8/11. And there's a lot of great proposals in there. And fortunately, Adao actually has a few proposals in there. Can you explain, what those proposals are and also, what value they're going to bring to Cardano?
Yeah, definitely. So, in ADAO, like I said, there's a lot of subgroups, working groups. They hold open meetings during the weeks. So they have a few proposals. One is an education proposal. There's a group that does a lot of work within ADAO called the Blockchain Learning Center. Um, David Baxter is actually the founder. A lot of people know him, and they have a proposal collaborating with ADAO to build a comprehensive DAO course, like the other ones he offers at the Blockchain Learning Center and the coffee shops. So that's one. And then we have a few developer proposals. We have a ADAO open source proposal to continue incentivizing all this open source infrastructure, but not only with ADAO tokens, with ADA. So we have a proposal for that. And we have a proposal to bring some improvements to Roundtable. We've been working really hard to allow staking from Roundtable. We want to be able to interact with marketplaces. And so to do that, we need not only code on our side in Roundtable, but upstream code changes. So to be able to incentivize that is a big deal.
And that proposal is called Roundtable V2, right?
Correct.
And then what are the names of the other two proposals?
Yeah,
There's three
so
total, right?
we also propose Plutus vesting DApp. Right now in Cardano, all these projects that are building and launching, they pay themselves and their team out with tokens, and they're vested. Right now, there's not an easy way to do that. We have to do it manually. And so not only a smart contract, but a DApp, an interface where you can easily dynamically vest these tokens. I think it's something really important. So that's a proposal as well. And they're really easy to find because they all start with ADAO. So you'll see there's actually a total of 5, 4 from the development working groups, and then 1 from the education. And you'll see a lot of people as co-proposers on those, right? Because it's made up of organizations, not just ADAO, but Lido Nation, like I said, Blockchain Learning Center. So it's a really cool effort.
Yeah. For anyone watching who's interested in seeing, more of this utility being built out in the future, all you have to do is vote yes on their proposals. And, what's unique about Catalyst is you can vote yes on multiple proposals without, losing value that you're voting for one proposal. You can go through and vote for 50 or 2, and it will still mean the same amount of yeses relative to the amount of ADA that you have. You can also vote no on some proposals as well, and you can vote no or yes as many times as you want.